Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be an interesting reading, and there seems to be a collective at the moment that is having a shift in energy. It might be something to do with the retrogrades that we're going through at the moment. It could be to do with all sorts of different things, but there's a lot of changing energies that I'm feeling at the moment that's going on here. So the cards already lay out. I've already got an idea of where this is going and what it's about, but we will pick some runes to go with the cards as normal, and see what we can work out from there. So if you're new to this channel, please do like and subscribe. There are details in the description box for the services that I offer. So if you'd like a personalised reading, if any of this resonates with you and you want to go further into it with your own personal situation, you get a lot more information from it that way. And I also offer healing sessions as well, meditations, manifestations too. So have a little look, and if you resonate with me and you feel that that's something I can help you with, then please do get in touch. So let's have a look. Let's get into this, shall we? So we're going to start with the first card, which is the Wheel. This is something, a turning point, a change. Something is changing here and going on. And the song, I keep getting a song pop in my head around this one. It may be because I've recently heard this song, but it's Green Day and it's called Good Riddance. But the lyrics in it are, it's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So it says something like, it's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. And something unpredictable. So those are the lyrics that I'm getting from that are going in. Sorry that I sang there. I really hope that your windows aren't smashed or anything like that. So this is kind of like a change in destiny. It could be that you've maybe recently had a change of heart, change of idea, change of thought, but there's something that's in line with your fate, with where you are on this time. It's almost like you're still kind of along on a timeline, but you've kind of jumped some kind of timeline here. So let's get a rune that goes with that to see what is this change, what is this turning point, this fork stuck in the road. Canas. Okay, so this is something that's been illuminated to you, that you've been made aware of. It's almost like an epiphany. Something that you've really has been put in your forefront of your mind for you to pay attention to. Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it, is what I'm getting from this, and it's connected to your fate, your destiny. This can actually relate to where you've gone through some kind of karmic lessons as well. So it may be where you've got to, when you go through a lesson and you don't really learn the lesson, so you have to go through the lesson again. And then there's a point where you actually hit a brick wall and you sort of like, then you're like, oh, I see now. I see why I keep running through brick walls. It's because of that particular thing there. So this is a turning point where I feel somebody has decided to make a change in that karmic cycle. Like you're collapsing a karmic cycle in order to change your fate, or change your destiny rather, not changing your fate. You're changing your destiny, so you're taking a different route now. You're going a different way. And Canas is the beacon of light that is helping you find your way along there, okay? So working with Canas, sometimes Canas can be there to actually burn away things that no longer serve you. So I do see somebody that's kind of like the phoenix, in the way of like you've got to so far that you can get in one particular aspect of yourself, to the point where you've had to burn that to the ground, and then from the ashes you are now ready to be reborn. So this is an exciting change. This is something I do feel you are very aware of, and something that you are feeling like, yeah, I'm ready for this change. I'm ready for this turning point. And it's an exciting energy that I'm getting from this. Canas is kind of related to the wands. And it's interesting because there is a particular wand that you've got in there, actually a couple of wands that you've got in your reading for your hopes and fears and your outcome as well. So we will look at that in a moment. But this is a positive change. So if you've made a decision and you were wondering whether it was the right decision or not, then I feel like with Cain being your rune here with the wheel, it's kind of suggesting, yeah, this is fated. This is something that's actually been brought to you to pay attention to, because it's the right way to go. It's the right move for you. So if you needed that confirmation, maybe this reading is bringing that for you. Now, the challenge that we have is the King of Swords. Now, I think this flew out of the pack in the reverse position, but because I did this a little while ago, I can't remember. I'm so sorry. But usually this particular king is, you know, somebody that is quite communicative, intelligent, brave. But if it was in the reverse, this could be sort of like where your thoughts are a little bit too rigid. So it might be that you've got this awareness, something's been brought to your attention about a change that needs to be made, a turning point that's approached you and presented itself to you. But the challenge here is about changing your thoughts around it, because if your thoughts have been quite rigid before and you've been like, well, I can't change my mind, I can't do anything in a different way. This is kind of suggesting about, like, maybe you're trying to look at things too logically, and maybe this is kind of seeing things outside of the box instead. You know, you can't try and control everything, and you find that things flow much better when you allow and you have the ability to kind of recognize, yeah, changes are going to occur, and if I roll with the changes, then actually I'm going to feel more free. I'm going to feel less rigid. So if you've been suffering, you may be suffering with like tension in the body. So that could be like around your hips, neck, maybe headaches, shoulder ache, that kind of thing. I feel somebody that's been quite tense up in their head quite a lot as well, and really rigidly thinking. So that's the challenge here within this reading, is that in order for this turning point to take place, there needs to be awareness or paying attention to, maybe you're being too rigid in your way forward for this to actually happen, for this to be the case. Okay, so let's pick the rune that goes with that. So your challenge is that King of Swords. What rune do we have for that? Isa. Okay, so right now for your challenge, it's actually speaking about the ego self. And it's like your soul self is trying to have a word with your ego self and explaining that, you know, if we are trying to go after the same thing the same way each time, but it's not working out for us, there's a reason for that, and we need to seriously take a back step. We need to just freeze for a moment and have a look at what is needed to change. So try and bring yourself into the present moment with this. Be present in the moment, and maybe look at what you can do for this. Maybe it's taking little baby steps. And I do feel with Isa, it is an energy of like, just slow down, slow down. There's no rush here. If something is meant for you and you're aware of this turning point, but it doesn't mean you've got to quickly spin round the U-bend. Do you know what I mean? You can take your time with it. If this is an opportunity or a situation that's created this fork in the road for you, if it's meant for you, it won't go away. I know people say that, and it's sort of like, yes, well, opportunities do go away. They don't hang around forever, but you do have a moment of time to sit and think about this. And I do feel that when it's come to your attention, maybe you're the kind of person that wants to run out the door and make sure they seal the deal or get it going. But this is kind of asking you to just be in the moment. Just take each moment as it comes, okay? Be present. There should be no panic about this. There should be no rush or feeling afraid of losing anything. There was something I heard today about, what was it? Basically not being afraid to lose anything. So it's sort of like, if you, say for instance, you're in a relationship and you've got a fear of losing the other person for whatever reason, you're ultimately going to lose that person. It's like the fear kind of pushes the outcome to be like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, so this is kind of asking you to really be in the moment and really talk to that ego self as sort of like, okay, so we've got this rigid way of thinking about things, we've got this want to sort of maybe control a situation, or keep things as we feel they should be, almost like, you know, trying to sort of not manipulate in a malicious way, but manipulate things in a way that so that you feel comfortable or in control. So this is kind of asking you to, it's sort of like, just maybe observe now, just observe the situation without rushing out the door to try and control it in any way. Okay, so observe is the word for this right now. Observe and be present in the moment. There is no need for this to instantly have to be a big change, okay? Especially if it's overwhelming for you. So, when I pulled the cards out for what to focus on, 2 cards fell out. And it actually happened again down here as well. So we've got 2 cards there and 2 cards there. So the cards that fell out here were the Page of Pentacles and the King of Cups, but in the reverse position. Now, this brings us back to this kind of like rigid way of thinking and being in the moment and observing, because there's a situation that sometimes, I do feel this could be a relationship, to be honest. It feels like you're being asked to work on the subconscious mind. So this might be a time for you to actually spend some time meditating. But with the Page of Pentacles here in the upright position, it kind of suggests like gaining some knowledge, taking some time to study or learn something. So this could be so focusing, because you have a restless energy about this situation, this turning point, this, I still keep getting that song stuck in my head, this turning point, this change that's upon you, that's occurring. It's kind of making you feel restless. It's affecting you day to day. And that's why you need to be more present in the moment. You need to keep bringing yourself back to the present moment, because this is kind of like in your head at the moment. And I got the feeling when I picked these 2 was about somebody maybe taking on some study, maybe learning about things like counselling or psychology, that kind of thing. So learning about psychology, learning about the human mind, and you know, how things are affected by certain things. I do feel that this particular situation is, the focus for you is finding these things out, maybe looking into this kind of stuff more, because it does bring you more focus. I feel like it's something that you're really interested in and you want to know more about. And ultimately what it's going to do is actually place you in a point of self-care. It's going to help you to look at your life and things going on in your life that maybe are affected by this sudden change that's coming in, this turning point. And I do feel it is you accessing that subconscious mind, looking at things that trigger you maybe from the past, like we said before about those karmic cycles, you know, with the wheel. You've recognized some cycles, I feel like, from previous relationships that are affecting your way forward, and you want to now look at the psychology of it. But I feel somebody, it's almost like being a relationship coach. It's almost like this is kind of, this turning point is actually creating that way of life for you. It's like, this is what you're going to become. This is the destiny that you're kind of like working towards. So if that resonates with you, if that sounds like what you're looking for, or what's been in your mind about becoming or doing something like that, then please do drop a comment and let me know, because it does definitely feel like, especially with these 2 cards coming out, it's like there needed to be more information about what to focus on. And it's heavily about this restless energy that's connected to relationships, a particular situation I feel that's going on in your life as well, that you've had this turning point about. and it's making you want to learn more about yourself, your triggers, the subconscious mind. But ultimately, it is bringing you to a place of this knowledge you're going to put into practice to help other people, is what I'm feeling from that. It's quite promising because it's almost like it feels like you're repairing something within your love life, within relationships, but ultimately it's also going to help you in your career, like work life as well. Okay, so let's get the rune that goes with that then. So what are we focusing on? What rune goes with that focus? Daggers, so enlightenment. This is the window of opportunity. This is breaking through illusion. So it's kind of like really sort of, the more you focus at this time on self-love, on yourself, on learning about things that perhaps have come to the forefront of your mind about, like, why do people behave like this? Or why do I react like this to this kind of situation? Or why do I do these things that I do? And daggers is like daylight. So again, with Kanaz, it's illumination. It's illuminating things for you to see clearly. And where Kanaz kind of like helps you to burn that energy away, daggers is more kind of using that enlightenment to share that knowledge, pass it on, sort of thing. I did get an image before about, you know, where they say, that's going to come up around here, by the way. You know, if you plant a seed of a tree, say you want to grow a tree and you plant a seed, the person that plants that seed is probably not ever going to sit in the shade of that tree. But they didn't plant it for their own gain. They planted it so that it was there for others. Okay, so it's kind of like that energy of, you've been thrown into this situation, a change of fate, a change of destiny rather, this turning point, but it's kind of helping you to create something that you're going to be able to pass on, that other people are going to benefit from. And that's, you know, really helping you to feel like, I'm not a selfish person, I'm a good person, and I do good things, and I want to share things with the world. I want to bring my gifts out to the world. And I feel like that's exactly what you're doing here. You are really like enlightening and stepping into a new power within yourself. You're stepping into a new light. Daggers basically means daylight, and every day is the chance for a new opportunity, isn't it? Every day that sun rises, it's a new day. Slate clean, ready to go. Yeah, that's the energy I'm getting from this. It also represents time as being an illusion as well. So you, again, I have to say, you're not running out of time here. Take your time, slow down, and realise what you need to do for you, how you want things to be for you. I was going to pick another rune then. So we're moving on now to the past and things that you're leaving behind. So what we got there was the 10 of Swords in the reverse position. So this is leaving behind things that are, you know, feeling like you've been stabbed in the back. Again, it's sort of like a restless sort of energy that you're leaving behind. It also has an energy of, so where there is a bit of resistance here with the King of Swords, this is like that rigidly thinking about things. This is kind of like letting go of fear of change. So it's almost like knowing that change is inevitable and allowing that change. You're actually starting to let go of negative emotions around things. So when we're holding on to something really, really tight, sometimes we can forget why we're actually holding on to that thing. And you release it and you're like, oh, I don't actually feel so angry about that anymore, or really, you know, holding on to that anymore. You're letting go of like this thought of like you lack anything, that you don't have enough to give or bring to the table, that sort of thing, which we'll come to in this in a minute. So it is, you know, allowing yourself to pull those swords out of your back, allowing yourself to heal from your wounds, And this is an energy of, you know, allowing that change, the inevitable change that is about to occur in your life, that turning point. Allow it in, because it is ultimately helping you to change your mindset and grow. So let's see what room we have for your past and leaving. Rando. So yeah, this is all about, you know, I'll ask you the question, you know, when you go on holiday or something, where do you feel the holiday begins? Is it as soon as you get in the car to the airport or wherever you're going? Or is it when you get to the actual destination? So think about that, because this might answer what's going on here about your past, because this, what we're leaving behind in the past, is actually this sort of want for the outcome rather than actually just enjoying and going with the flow of the journey. So Rado kind of represents the journey is the destination. So get used to the fact that, like, let go of any particular outcome, let go of any need to have an outcome in this situation, and just go with the flow. Okay, because sometimes we can be too itinerary about things, where it's sort of like, right, we've got to have an outcome here. And I don't know about you, but whenever I've been anywhere where there's been a heavy itinerary of things, there's always somebody that's stressy about it, for one, the person that's organised it all, because they want it to be perfect. And 100%, it never goes to plan. It never, ever works out or goes to plan. And everybody is stressed about it. Everybody feels like they didn't really enjoy that because it was too rushed, or there was too much to do, or we had to be here, there and everywhere. I remember going to Glastonbury Festival, and it's like people have this itinerary of like, right, we've got to be here at this time and there at that time. And it's like, why don't we just get a cider and sit down, and we'll catch whatever we catch when we go. It's a lot more relaxed. It's a lot more easy. And I feel like that's like what's happening here for you, is maybe in the past you've had that kind of itinerary sort of way of things, but you've been disappointed with the outcome of things. Whereas this is asking you now, leave that behind, just leave that and surrender to this turning point, surrender to this change that's occurring for you, okay? Someone's going to get really annoyed at me if I keep saying turning point. If you haven't already, I do hear you. So, Rado, this is the horse that you jump on that's going to take you where you're going, okay? And you just have to trust that that horse is going to take you where you need to go. But of course, you need to have rest time. You need to be able to feed your horse. You need to stop and sleep. So go with the flow. Leave behind that negative thought and the resistance to change. Okay, so that brings us now to, what are your strengths? What do we actually see as a strength within you right now? So we've got the Seven of Swords. Now this is an energy of usually quite a hasty energy, someone that's quick to act, quick to sort of be decisive and things like that. And I feel like this is about, at the moment, we've just said about like having an itinerary and stuff. This is somebody that's got a strategy. So it's kind of like, have a plan in place. And I do feel that that is the strengths that you have, is being able to plan things out. You've got kind of like a game plan here. You know what you're trying to achieve. And it's always going to work out for you as long as your intentions are true. So that's what it's saying on here, is with this change that's coming up, make sure your intentions are true. That's your strength within this. Things are going to work out just fine as long as you are being true. I do see somebody, maybe you visit the city a lot, or you're going to have to move to a city. But this change is possibly not what you were expecting. It's different to what you would have thought, or what you originally thought you wanted to happen in your life, or the way that you thought you wanted to go. But actually you are prepared for it. You've got everything, all the tools that you need in order for this change to occur. And with the moon shining down on there, it's like, you know, you are being illuminated and guided here. that's part of your strength, is allow your true intentions to be seen. Be truthful. Have that strategy in place, but allow for movement in that. Okay. The Seven of Swords does sometimes have the energy of somebody that wants to kind of like run away. Maybe it's got like a loner sort of energy to it. Somebody that wants to be maybe on their own, that kind of thing. So it's like this energy that is kind of a strength in a way, is you being able to sort of go, right, okay, well, I'm going to change direction again. I'm going to do this now. And you may become good at changing direction regularly, that kind of thing. So let's get a rune that goes with that now. So your strengths, Seven of Swords, Lagos. That's a good one. Whoa, what's Fayu doing down there? We've lost a rune, look. We've got Fayu as well. This one came out on the other reading the other day. So this is all about wealth. This is an energy of abundance as well. So I'm going to place that in the middle somewhere because that was obviously there for a reason. But Lagos here is kind of like, you know, by utilising these strengths that you have of true intentions and that strategy and letting go of this negativity, letting go of the resistance, it allows flow. It unblocks the river of that dam and allows a nice natural flow. It's organic. And I do feel that's what's happening here, this change that's occurring for you. I'm going to say it again, the turning point, the fork stuck in the road. This is there for you to realise, actually, I can let myself just flow with this. I can go with the flow with this. You know, if you had an idea of like, oh, by this time of my life, I'm going to be doing this or I'm going to be doing that, your life might be very different to what you thought it was going to be maybe 5 or 10 years ago or something. But now that there's something that's shown up here that you've been made aware of to pay attention to, by surrendering to this, you're actually allowing that flow. You are allowing that flow of energy. And it's kind of accessing your emotional side as well, allowing that flow of energy. And also it's kind of forcing, well, not forcing you, but it's helping you to face fears. So again, when we're looking at down here what to focus on, this is all helping you to face fears, illuminate things that you need to be made aware of in order to move forward on this next part of your journey, because it looks like something quite big. I do feel it's to do with a relationship, but I also feel like it's to do with work as well. So it's like combining your energy with somebody else. You may be working together as well as being together. But there's some things here that it feels like maybe on a psychological level that you are wanting to work on yourself, which is good. That's a good thing to have. Okay. So we're now moving into the near future. And this one kind of feels like, so we've got the Six of Pentacles in reverse. Now, when it's upright, this is an energy of giving and receiving in balance. So this is something about, again, something not being in balance through to holding on to the past. So this energy here is more about maybe not being able to accept help. So I do feel for some of you in the near future, you're going to come to a point where you're going to need to ask for some help. And that may make you feel vulnerable. It might make you feel weak, or, you know, people are going to feel like, well, I've been showing this side of myself that I'm doing okay, that I've got everything as I need it to be and I don't need any help, but actually I do need help. So this in your energy of the near future is about saying you will need to ask for some help. And when that help arrives, do not turn it down, okay? Because this is, again, about you letting go. It's letting go of wanting to be in control of these particular aspects and situations. You're being called upon to not be so rigid in your plans anymore and allow this flow of energy. And all will become clear once you do that. And it's a scary thing to do. There's a lot of fear around that. I understand that, maybe doubt. But it's what you are being guided to do. So let's get a rune now for this. Algis. This one comes out in every single, there's 24 discs in there. And yeah, there's 10 cards, well, 12, but algaes, okay? So I'd say for this, it's more about letting somebody in through the boundaries that you've set. Boundaries are great as long as they don't become barriers. And I do feel for some of you, things have become a little bit of a barrier around here. And asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Now, this help could come from family members, or it could come from people that you see as family but aren't necessarily blood relatives, okay? People that you know you can trust, people that you know are going to help you. And I do believe that you have people in your life that you know are going to help you, that will be there for you. But there's a fear around what they're going to think of you if you ask for this help. Like maybe if you haven't spoken to this person for some time or something and you suddenly ask him for help, they may be a bit like, oh yeah, well you only want to hang around with me or spend time with me because you want something from me. That's what you're feeling or thinking. But the fact is, if a person needs help and the person that they're going to for that help has ever been in that situation or loves that person unconditionally, they're not going to turn you down for help, okay? And then, it's on you then to kind of get that balance to repay the favour at some point, so you can make a plan about doing that. But algaes is kind of suggesting that there are people around you that want to protect you, that want to help you. So put a call out for those people. You think you may know who those people are in your life anyway. If you don't, then maybe it's time to try and sift out around people that you feel you can trust and make sure you've got people around you that you know you can trust and that love you, okay? Because everybody should have that in their life, because at the end of the day, we all need help at some point in our lives. And knowing who we can go to is, the best course of action, really. And you know that you would do that in return for somebody else, or if you make sure you do. So this is an interesting one. We're looking now into our advice column, and we've got 2 cards again for advice. We've got the Chariot and the Lovers. So that was very interesting, I thought, because this is kind of like about having, the Chariot's kind of like about having confidence to move something forward, to drive something forward. But it also has an energy of it, again, about healthy boundaries. These two coming out together is about healthy boundaries. So the Lovers can sometimes be about loving relationships, soulmates, that kind of thing. But it's also about making a choice in duality. So I do feel like you know that this change is coming. There's something that you feel is fated here. But you also feel like stuck between a rock and a hard place almost. Like you don't know, that it's inevitable. This change is inevitable. And this is asking you to basically allow that love in, like have the confidence to allow it. So again, that's why I feel that this is about a relationship, but also that's going to lead to you actually being some kind of like relationship coach or something, like doing that kind of work, helping people with the psychology of relationships and stuff. And this is allowing yourself to be loved, but having those healthy boundaries as well. So if you like see the 2 horses on there, this is like opposing energies basically. But so this could be somebody in a relationship with that you feel is quite opposite to you. Quite opposite, but somehow complement each other, or just work well together. And that's the kind of energy that I'm getting from this, is the advice. It's almost like, try not to look at the negatives. So let go of the negatives and let go of the rigid way of thinking about things. Let go of the feelings of lack as well, and resisting what you know is inevitably a change that's going on here. I don't know, I want to clear my throat all the time. and allowing this love in. So it's like having the confidence to know that this is happening. This is bringing you healthy boundaries. And it's like, you know, accepting that, like, okay, so this person compliments me, I'm like this, they're like that, but actually we work well together. Okay. There is a real deep feeling of a real strong masculine energy and a strong feminine energy. It's like counterparts that are like a power couple almost. That's the kind of energy that I'm getting from this. But the struggle is here is sort of like resisting the changes of that. Is kind of because of being triggered in the past and things not going the way that you wanted them to go. So there's that fear around that of things not working out. Okay, so we're going to move on now into our environment. So oh no, we're not. We're going to pick a rune for that one, for the advice. So let's pick a rune for advice then on here. Okay, so what it all boils down to is answers. Answers is about communication. And I do feel that with the Lovers and the Chariot down there is kind of like, have a discussion about these opposites. Have a discussion about the things that you feel are different about you guys, about each other. Because ultimately it's going to strengthen your connection if you have strong communication. In any relationship, both parties, or however many are in the relationship, should be allowed to voice concerns, voice needs, and voice boundaries as well. So I do feel for some of you there is a fear around being able to speak and say what you want to say without it triggering the other person or creating an argument or something like that. So this is possibly about finding the balance between the duality in communication. So it's almost like maybe if one of you speaks in this particular language and the other one speaks in that particular language, you've got to try and find some middle ground so that you can understand each other's language, each other's way. And that might not just be communication on a verbal level, it might be like your love language that you need to learn as well. So it's like, what does that person need? What is their love language? What do they work with? And how can I complement that for that person? But at the same time, getting that person to complement yours and understand your love language. And that's how beautiful relationships are molded. That's how they work. That's how a relationship can either be flaky and not go anywhere, or has the ability to grow and move. Okay, that's very promising. So in your environment, we've got the Ace of Pentacles. So in your environment here, there's a new opportunity, and this could be part of this change, the turning point. I've said it again. So with the Ace of Pentacles, this is an energy of like that new venture, things changing, planting a seed for the future. So like I said before about, you know, the man that goes and plants the seed for the tree that he's never going to sit under. You know, you don't do it purely for your own selfish needs. Sometimes you can do things because actually you know it's going to be beneficial in the future. It's going to have a lasting impact. And I feel like that's what you're trying to create in your environment right now. When I say your environment, I don't just mean like where you live in your external environment, I mean internally. You are planting seeds within yourself that are positive. You're throwing out the ones that are holding you back, the negative ones, the ones that have gone a little bit iffy and don't seem to be shooting or rooting or grounding anymore. They're just sat there and annoyingly taking up that space. Okay, so this is kind of bringing you into an energy where you're thinking about the future in your environment and seeing things in a more positive way. So I like that. I like that energy. You're starting to realise actually how the future could be. not being too rigid in where your environment needs to be, or what, you know, where you need to see yourself. And we've got Picano in here as well. So this is, and it kind of goes with the Ace of Pentacles, because if you look at the person holding that coin, like they're nurturing it. Yeah, it's something, a really precious seed that they're nurturing there. And that's like Picano. Picano is connected to the birch tree. And you imagine that birch being grown, and, you know, I love birch trees, especially this sort of time of year. You can tap birch trees, like they're the sap kind of going up, and you start to get the leaves coming out, and there's a real energy of nurturing in your environment that goes with this. And that's, I feel like, nurturing your internal environment, nurturing yourself. Picano is related to rebirth, so it's like the birthing of ideas, the birthing of something new, new opportunities. This is very exciting. I feel like you're going through this change that's exciting. It's a new beginning, and you should be excited about it. I do feel like for some of you, this has kind of been a wavering thought or seed that's been growing since about January, that you kind of just really had more of an understanding about, or a realization about, like, you know, it's taken a couple of months for you to really pay attention to this and actually start to get wheels in motion and things moving and overcoming the fear of things. So we're going to look now at your hopes and fears, and we've got the Two of Wands. I love this card. I love how the Two of Wands is kind of like, it's all about decisions. So it's like, you know, you can go from one idea to the other, and between those two posts in there is like your thinking space, that thinking time. And you've been in that thinking time for a while now, wondering what direction. But this is about making a decisive action, understanding, like, I actually see it. I've got one card with the Two of Wands where there's somebody holding a crystal ball. So it's almost like you're looking at plans for the future. What's the word? Bold. It's having like a bold vision for the future. So it's almost like, you know, things are certain. They're not wavery. They're not uncertain. This is certain. So your hopes and your fears are kind of relating to you are making a decision, and even if there is fear there, it feels like you've made that decision boldly. You are feeling like, yes, I'm going for this, and there's excitement there. It does relate to that boldness in relationships as well. That can be symbolic of that. Let me have a look what room we've got to go with that. So hopes and fears. There's more hope in that one than fear, I feel. We've got Athala. Something feels very at home to you. Athala is a rune of home, like estate basically, and gifts that you inherit. So I feel like for you, there's an energy of something feeling really solid, like a solidarity here, that's bringing about this decisiveness. Like you've decided, like, yeah, this feels solid, like family. This feels good. So again, if this is to do with a relationship, it could be something that's made you feel like, actually, this feels really familiar to me. This feels natural. It feels right. And you're working through the fears around it, the things that you're holding on to, the rigid way of thinking. It's like you've let go. You are moving into a space of letting go of that in order to achieve something that you're looking for, that you want to build on, but not in the way that you expected. Maybe it's not the direction that you thought you would be going into at this point in your life, maybe. I don't know. That's making me feel like for some of you, it could be to do with, especially with Isa there and Bacano there could be maybe a pregnancy here or a baby on the way. And that wasn't the direction you thought you were going in, maybe, but you're starting to come to terms with it and move it round. And that might be what this sort of idea of counselling and working with other people through these kind of things comes from. That's quite specific actually. So if that does resonate with you, please do comment down below and get in touch if you would like to go further into this. I want to itch my face a lot, so it's almost like somebody's got a bit of anxious energy around that. But you're coming to terms with this idea of family, and allowing that energy now. But there's still a longing in the back of your mind for a different way. Maybe this is somebody that wanted to go travel off around the world or wherever and do different things, but now this situation is not situation, but now this change or turning point has become apparent. It may be that, you know, you're starting to switch your mind into, well, actually, I need to be on board with this. Okay. Yeah. Like I say, that could be quite specific for somebody. It's not going to be relative to everybody that's watching here. But I'm going to move now into, so the outcome of this is the King of Wands, which that's a pretty promising card to have as the outcome. This is a passionate new beginning. So this is something that you can be quite passionate about. It's successful. You know, there's a real loving energy to this. There's a real sort of like something quite solid, that once you can let go of an old way of thinking about things, maybe this is an unconventional kind of relationship or something that you haven't really experienced before, but are starting to move towards, like, actually, this is what I want. This is the new beginning that I'm looking for. So let's get a rune that goes with that right now. So what rune do we have here? Wyrd. Okay, so this whole process that you're going through, this actually does relate to the wheel as well in tarot. Wyrd is all about the year. It's a wheel itself. It's cycles of natural growth. So it's what you've been through, what you're going through, and allowing those cycles of change, allowing things to, and you're going to receive the rewards of your efforts, of the things that you're doing, that you're learning about yourself, you know, the chances that you're taking, enabling yourself to move forward. It all reeks of success. And, you know, they say, don't they, you reap what you sow. So if you're sowing these lovely seeds down here, you know, without any real need for outcome or knowing what's ahead of anything, it's just knowing I'm doing the right thing, I'm moving in the right direction, I'm being guided to do this. Something's come to my attention and it's awoken me, it's enlightened me, and you are choosing to let go of things that hold you in a rigid place of thinking, and you're allowing that flow. And that flow is quite fast moving, you know, it's bringing a strategic way of moving and true intentions. And it's enabling healthy boundaries and communication. It's enabling a beautiful environment for that new beginning. It's strengthening the family, you know, with that decisiveness that you've made there. It's strengthening something within you that's really quite close to your heart. It's got an ancestral energy to that as well. So it's like community, that kind of thing. And yeah, with having Wyrd and the King of Wands as your outcome is just, this is successful. This is beautiful. It's passionate. So if you were worried at all about your situation, then I hope that that has given you some clarity about the direction that you're going in. And if you would like to have more on that, then please do get in touch for a personalised reading. And please do like and subscribe to my channel. But other than that, I'm going to leave the reading here, and I will speak to you again soon. Blessed be.